Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised. Parental discretion is advised.
And we're back into Black, live and direct, and we are another week, another discussion, another roundtable for Black survivors. Today is August the 24th, and we got a lot to talk about. Who I got online with me? I know Brother Cadence, Brother Cadence is there.
What's good, man? Big.
Who else on the line?
Prime the official.
Brother Anton. Okay, well, good. Glad to have y'all here tonight, man. I wanted to mention a couple of current events, but as always, first, even before that, in the tradition of we always remember our ancestors. You know what I mean? And all the folks came before us to pave the way for us to be here today. And also, we want to give a moment to think about our people again. As I mentioned last week, the ones that lived and those who perished during Hurricane Katrina, because we're right into about the, this is 7-year anniversary coming up. It was right around this time between today and tomorrow when it really started heading in heavy towards the shore down there in New Orleans. So we don't ever want to forget that, because between that and what happened to our people in Haiti, those were two horrendous events in the last 10 years with a miserable response in waiting for others to come and do for us what we should do for ourselves. So with that in mind, I say. So some of the current events that I've seen today, of course, everybody's talking about this alleged gunman who was shot by the police outside the Empire State Building. How convenient. Plays right into the hands of Mayor Bloomberg, and all of the campaign for gun control. Odd timing, to say the least. Very, very sketchy story. At the end of the day, it just really comes down to gun control. What else have I seen? Oh, your boy Joe Biden. They're still talking about him and his making the statement that they're going to put y'all back in chains. And he said it just like that, too. Talking to a group of black people down in one of the Carolinas. I don't know if it was North Carolina, South Carolina. And he was supposedly making reference to something else, but it was clear that he changed his draw and everything when he was talking. He's saying they're going to put you niggas back in chains if the Republicans get in the White House. That was basically his whole thing with that. What else? I saw Mark Faber today. He's the publisher of Gloom and Doom Report. He told CNBC that the odds of a global recession are 100%. So, of course, it's all manufactured and to an extent. And to some extent, this shit is getting out of their control, because they don't control everything. Never have, and they never will. So, with that, these are just some of the things going on. Brother Prime reminded me about the judge down there in Texas. He said he'll join the civil unrest and all the wild shit if Obama gets reelected. So, for all those who will end up listening to this once it's, out there on the net, these are serious times. There ain't no time for no goddamn games and laughing and joking and playing. That's for damn sure. So we serious about what we talking about here, and, so we're going to go on in. Tonight we're going to do something a little different. We're going to kind of talk individually based upon our we all got different areas, multiple areas that we study, but we have specific things that we focus in on more than others. And so first up is Brother Prime, the official, is going to go in a little bit. This brother, I saw his videos on YouTube. That's YouTube/Prime the Official. And he's got some good videos in there on urban survival. And I was real impressed with the container gardening that he was doing in the hood. And given the fact that a lot of our people live in urban areas and concentrated urban areas, I know for a fact that that's going to be very important because we don't have big farms at this point. And each household, each community, excuse me, is going to have to take responsibility for their own growing food, for themselves, and where we can't have a massive collective effort. Then that has to take up the slack. So, Brother Prime, you just going to tell us a little bit about, what your experience has been, and you were going to talk about some emergency supplies and container gardening.
Right. All right, well, first, I'll go ahead and go in on the container, container gardening. That right there, that's still a work in process. It's in progress right now. Just trying to, I'm going through trial and error. It's probably about my fourth year now doing it. I started out just, playing around. My woman, she wanted to, she wanted to have flowers and shit. So I'm like, I want to eat something. Like, if I'm a grow something, I want to eat it. So I started off like that. Then I learned the most important thing is, I guess, will probably be the earth, where you're putting it at, and the amount of sun it gets. If you're doing a container garden and you live in the hood, a lot of times these buildings only get a couple hours of sunlight. You know what I mean? So it's like, so you have to make sure, where you put your plants is going to be vital to the health of them. They will not grow without an efficient amount of sunlight. So placement is very important, for container gardening. And also what's very important is just learning how to condense your plants together. Learning how to condense them together, because you can get I probably got about 30 plants. I probably got about 30 plants scattered, around my back porch and little deck and stuff. Like, I probably got about 30 different plants. So learning how to, actually, place them and, get the most out of your harvest. That's very important in what to grow. When you're doing urban gardening, if you're doing it in containers, it's best that you grow things that are, make sure they're somewhat of a staple food. Don't try to grow anything exotic. You know what I mean? It's going to be very, if you got a small amount of space to work with, don't try to grow no fucking watermelons and pumpkins and shit. Right. You know what I mean? Don't even try that. Do things that will produce fast and in abundance. Me, I grow things that I can go ahead and I make sure I can can them. If it can't be canned, at this point, till I get like a big yard and stuff, if it can't be canned, I'm not really interested in it. It's like I do things that can be canned, like carrots, onions. They last a long ass time. I do tomatoes. Of course, those can be canned, turned into your sauces and things like that. I do tomatoes. I do cucumbers. Those can be turned into your pickles and things. I also do I do green beans. I got a couple different styles of green beans. As you know, those can be canned as well. Those can be canned. Those can be frozen. I do mint. My mint plants, those are strictly just for personal use. I use those for digestion. Like, I drink probably a couple glasses of mint tea every day just to keep my digestion calm and, you know what I mean, keep everything working right. I do mint. I do a lot of that. I'm real into the mint plants. And I got a couple other miscellaneous plants like tarragon and shit like that, but, and carrots and, it's just like basically staple things that I know I can can.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, bro. I'm sorry to interrupt. How do you think that will help in an emergency type situation? The knowledge that you've had and the fact that you have grown this food, how does that play into the whole, what would be your reasons you would give people why they need to consider that as part of their whole survival plan?
Well,
at least if not all of it, you know?
Right, no doubt. All right, as far as like, it's more than just important. This is essential information that you have to have, that you're going to have to live. It's either you learn how to grow your own food now, or be subject to, because this new shit is about to hit the shelves any day now. This new Monsanto shit, Walmart already got their corn in. Monsanto, if you never heard of Monsanto is a seed company, and it killer seeds, man. Basically, right. These seeds are killer seeds. They will not reproduce for you. You can't go ahead and harvest seeds from your crops. Nothing like that. This is basically, you're putting death into that body. You eat this food. So you either grow your own food or be subject to this bullshit they're about to be putting on these shelves, calling it food. And in the coming, I believe in, in the very near future, I just believe that the quality of the food is going to plummet. It's going to go completely downhill. And people like this, you already see, you know what I mean? Like, they're trying to stop, you know what I mean? People who have, like, bigger properties and shit, they're trying to stop them from collecting rainwater. They're trying to stop them from growing food. That's how you know it's serious. You know what I mean? Like, just that reason alone should raise some, some serious red flags in, motherfuckers' head to say, look, man, it's time to learn, and it's like, to have the knowledge of it, I'm not saying that, I would say, yeah, practice the thing, the craft that you learn. Practice it.
Right.
But to have the knowledge, at least have it. It's easy, you know what I mean? It's very important, and it's easy to carry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You ain't going to be able to, something serious happen, you ain't going to be able to lug around 1,000,000 books on how to do this shit.
That's true.
You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to lug all these books around trying to learn how to do the shit and, reading and all. Man, you gotta put that information into action. And that's why I just think it's very important to learn these things now before the information dies.
Yeah, well, what do you think about the like in the event of, let's say, the boogeyman, the terrorists that everybody like to talk about, these silly ass news people and government people try to get everybody to believe is such a big problem. If there were, let's say, martial law or some other reason, one of those protests get a little too wild up there, you know what I'm saying, and you can't get out for a few days. I can see where that food that you can and that you have stored up could be very important, for short-term emergencies. Now, the reality that we all are facing, and that's why this damn beast is something, is got it coming in the long run, is because he's playing with the fate of the world when it comes to this whole food thing.
Right.
Okay, we can grow our little couple of cabbages, we can grow our green beans and all of that. That's just only going to last so long. You will end up eating something other than that sooner or later, and he knows it. You know what I mean? But it is definitely time to practice. It's definitely a time to, as we're fond of saying, free the land. You know what I mean? Because, like Malcolm X said, the basis of any fight, any struggle is land. You know what I mean? There ain't no revolution without land. So, I mean, that's what it's going to come down to a certain point. But certainly, I won't downplay the importance of these smaller efforts that we're doing now in surviving in the short term.
And
now what
to
about
add
some of
something.
these supplies?
Yeah, I wanted to add something before I go into the supplies. I wanted to add something when you were saying that, you gotta have that land. It's like what I have. We have some efforts up here in Pittsburgh where people are actually taking these abandoned houses and using the grass and the property on these abandoned houses, and they're starting their own urban gardens. They're starting it there. And nobody is going, it's like, around where I live, it's like, yeah, you live in the hood, but then you got those little areas that's a little bit of woods all in the back of the projects or whatever the fuck you live. You know what I'm saying? There's no one stopping you from going up in there, clearing shit out, and growing there either. You know what I'm saying?
Gorilla?
Yeah, gorilla. Like there's no one stopping you from doing that either. No one. The police ain't gonna come up in the woods like, oh damn, you know what I mean? Like, no, that's all perfect opportunity for, you know what I mean? You want to grow some food? You want more food? Because I've already done that. Only reason I didn't continue is because I didn't have the time and the energy to put into the garden I got at the crib and go across town to, a little spot that I made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
But that's always an option, though, also.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times there's somewhere right in your neighborhood, there's only maybe a few, we ain't going to get too specific on here tonight because, everybody's always listening, but you ain't got to travel real far sometimes, so let's leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? And so that is a good point to make. Because no matter what, we're not going to let these bitches starve us. That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
As long as they eat, we eat. I mean, that's just the bottom line, man. That's, that's not going to happen. So,
as long as the information is there, and we sharpening our swords, you know what I mean, learning the craft, like, man, we'll be ready, we'll be ready to rock, like, if something happened. You know what I'm saying?
But you know who's gonna make attempts to stop people? It's that nigga in their head. It's that nigga in their head that said, now you can't do that. Well, Master didn't
do that. Exactly.
You know what
Exactly.
And that's really the biggest obstacle, man. A lot of times our self-defeating thoughts on things, make us have a much harder fight than it already is. Just the fact that we don't believe that we should or could do something. But I'm sorry, man. Did you want to talk some about some emergency supplies? And I can. What they would be good for.
All right, now, as far as emergency supplies, what I learned about, emergency preparation is for you to prepare for your region. And what that means is things I'm not going to prepare. I live in Pittsburgh. I'm not going to prepare for a tsunami. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to prepare for a tsunami. I'm going to prepare for things that are relevant to my region. I could definitely fucking freeze to death. Like a flood. There's been a flood, but like we have so many hills where I live and only rivers. Ain't no rivers going to be making it up no serious hills. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, like, there could be flooding conditions unless it was, like, some old biblical rain for 40 days, 40 nights type of shit. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, like, you know what I mean, just basically you got to prepare for the disaster that's probable in your region. You know what I mean? In California, like, if you live, where they be having them fucking, fires and shit for weeks, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, some areas have certain types of disasters. But, all right. Now, what I did was I did things specific to my region. But I would say, like, one of the most important things that you gotta have on deck. You gotta have some water on deck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta have some water on deck. And water will last. It's like people say, yeah, water won't last. Probably change it out every year. But realistically, water is good indefinitely. Water is good indefinitely. Only thing you have to have is something to clean it with, like bleach, pool shock, or, things of that nature to clean the water. But you just have to have a good bit of water on deck. That's the first thing you need to have. And I don't mean like 3 gallons of water. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I mean, how much you talking there? Just to be specific.
I would say I have probably I got about 10 cases of water in one 5-gallon jug. Well, those the polar water joints that go in the machine?
Right.
I got one of those full. They sell those at Walmart now for $7. Those big 5-gallon joints.
Okay.
And those are also good just in case you gotta jump ship and just take some water with you. That's one big thing. You know what I'm saying? You can just roll with it. It's better than 10 cases. But water on deck for sure. Gotta have some water, and I look at it pretty much also like like a bodybuilder. You gotta have your proteins. You know what I'm saying? So I stack a lot of proteins up. Like you know what I mean? I don't get like like the bullshit. I'm not getting no canned hot dogs and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, get things that, will sustain you and somewhat keep you healthy. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm sorry, I was going to say, without getting too specific, I mean, even though you grow food and you can it, do you store other food?
Yeah.
Okay, and you store water,
I store water, other food that I buy. You know what I mean? And if if people don't have the money to just go out and spend $200 off the rip, just spend Just spend $15-$20 a month. $15 to $20 a month if you can. You know what I mean? And buy a whole bunch. It's like I just buy a whole bunch of tuna, whole bunch of salmon, and canned salmon and mackerel and shit like that. You know what I mean? I buy and chicken you got the chicken breast. You know what I mean? I buy a whole bunch of that, whole bunch of tuna, a whole bunch of salmon. I got bags of beans, rice. Staple things that I know is gonna last for years and years and years. You know what I mean? It's like in these things, you get a can of salmon, that shit's gonna last a good 3 years. You know what I mean? From the date that you got right now. You know what I mean? And it's good once you go ahead. You got it.
Oh no, I was gonna say that you don't have to be too specific because Janet Napolitano in the Department of Homeland Security and the Boogeyman are listening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But in reality, you're suggesting that people grow food and also store as much food and water as possible as well.
And I'm going to even go further. I'm going to even go further to say more than just store. Stockpile the shit.
Oh, you said the dirty word. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying it. Stockpile the shit.
Yeah,
stockpile your food and your water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Stockpile your food and your water.
Yeah, of course, we want to always include in there that while it might sound individualistic, we're saying do this in groups. Do it in small groups to start off with, but groups nonetheless, because, I mean, if you're the only person that's got food, you're not going to have it for long. Encourage all your neighbors, all those you got, or at least the people who are of like mind to do the same. So many of our people, and it ain't a goddamn thing to be ashamed of, is on food stamps. There's food pantries out there. We could be storing food, you know, without buying it all the time, or without buying it a lot of the time. And so, you know, that's a big part of the black community. Let's just keep it real. So I see some of the brothers, and I especially see them sisters with 2 fucking carts of groceries, a bullshit 5 boxes of cereal.
Yeah,
you know
right.
Start
and my fucking fruit roll-ups and shit.
And quit treating that shit like monopoly money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
right.
Of some real value while, you know, these still exist. Because, I mean, they know, you know, that there are some people who are doing that. You know what I mean? And some of our people are doing that. And so, you know, now what about emergency supplies like medical supplies? You know,
I was just about to get into that.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you got it. I was just you know, me, I have the basic stuff. But I have the basic stuff in a little bit more abundance than maybe, you know, the normal person. But, you know, I got a lot of gauze and Band-Aids and, you know, first aid cloth tape. You know, I got my, alcohols and hand sanitizer, that's for sure. A lot of it. Get as much. Hand sanitizer is super, super cheap, for real. Hand sanitizer, very, very ass important, man. Very important, because, like, it's like people are going to be dying just from you know, diseases and, you know, just bad hygiene and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People are going to be dying from just regular shit like that. So that right there, you know, and get things that you know aren't going to be around. You know what I mean? Like, get things you know aren't going to be around. You know, it's like me. I did a video, you know, basically, and I was just showing them, like, yeah, man, if you get hemorrhoids, dude, you better get your shit. You know what I mean? You better get your motherfucking medicines and shit. You know, get your soaps. Make sure you get your soaps and toilet paper. You know what I mean? Make sure you got, you know, a good bit of toilet paper and shit like that. You know, toilet paper, your Band-Aids, your wet wipes if you do that, or, you know. It's like me, I pretty much have the basic stuff, but, you know, if you want to get exotic, you know, I do got, you know, I don't got the sutras and shit, but I do got the needles and threads and shit, just, you know, just in case you got to do some stitches, you know what I mean? So it's like that, you keep those on deck also, you know what I mean?
Right,
to be able
and the knowledge how to use stuff like that, you know, because sometimes people will have some shit and they don't even know how to use it.
Right. So it's like, you know, just shit like that, your toothpaste and all that. Just, you know, I got a pretty, you know, basic. I got a few other exotic things, you know, in the kit, but, you know, that's for the most part. Like, if you're just starting out, just get the regular shit that you know you're going to need. You know what I mean? I keep bleach on deck. You know what I mean? That right there is very important. Keeping bleach on deck. You know, I got, you know, I have different water filters if you can. You know, if you can get water filters, get them, you know. If you can get water filters for cheap, make sure you get those. You know, and it's like I even go to, you know, as far as, you know, emergency, well, make sure you got all your batteries. You know, have at least 5 flash. Everybody in your family should have a flashlight. Right. Everybody in your family. I mean, your kids, you, and you have backup. So you should at least, if you had a family of 4, you should at least have 7 flashlights. Put it that way. And you should also have lanterns. And like me, I got a big spotlight to the point it's like, I think it's 2 million, I want to say lumens or something like that. It's like, it's super powerful. It's to the point if I flash it down the street, it's going to light up the whole street. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
well, one thing I want people to realize is that they can look at your videos and see some of the things you specifically have done to it, being that's YouTube / Prime the Official. Now, what are some of the scenarios, though, that you could see having to use this stuff? the flashlights to the emergency medical stuff, you know, because sometimes it's hard for people to really visualize. We're visual people. That's why videos are more popular than books today, because people would just much rather, you know, see a visual image. So what would you tell them with some of the things that could possibly potentially happen that you might need some supplies?
Well, first thing, I'm going to tell you one thing. I know if you want to, I'll start with the food. The reason why you should stockpile food, and it's like, especially if you are on welfare, especially if you're on welfare, these entitlement programs is about to be done. I don't know if everybody knows, but these entitlement programs, welfare, all that shit about to be a wrap. That shit is about to be a wrap. And when it is, people going to lose their fucking mind. They going to lose their fucking mind. And it's like having those, you know, having that hedge. That's what I call it. It's just a hedge against things like that. Once these entitlement programs go, if something catastrophic does happen, the stores only keep 3 days worth of food on deck. That's only 3 days. That's 3 days worth of food. Once that 3 days is gone, it's gonna be fucking chaos. It's gonna get real. So just having food for situations like that, and these are actual, you know, these are like probable situations that can actually happen. They can. That once them trucks stop coming, it's gonna be hell. It's gonna be hell to get, you know, something regular. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna be, you know, shit like bread and things coming in, man. It's gonna be hell trying to get some rice or noodles, or, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the shit that's regular to us is gonna be like gold. But as far, you know, that's the scenario for food. But you know what I mean? Like, it's obvious, like, you know, batteries and shit like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, anything could happen. You know, this just happened during the summer. You know, in Virginia, you know, people was without power for 4 days?
Now, that's a good example right there.
You know what I mean? Like, people was out without power for days, man.
Yeah, I mean, in some places for weeks. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And all down in D.C. and surrounding areas. So, I mean, that's no joke, for real.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's something that's the kind of stuff that people, for everybody listening, that was just your regular summer power outage. So they say. I don't trust shit they say, but you can believe it if you want to. To me, it was a practice run to see what people are going to do. If not, it doesn't matter. You know, the grid got overstressed, but that happens every summer. Just not that massively. It doesn't on a usual basis. You know.
And one more thing that I will say as far as supplies are concerned, you know, there's a whole bunch of other shit, but keep some sterno. If you haven't heard of sterno, it's something you can buy at Walmart in their camping section or outdoor section. There are these little cans, you know, basically with gel in the inside of them. You know, you light them and they burn for about, I think it's it might be about 3 hours per can. They usually come in packs of 2.
They vary. You can get some that are longer than others.
Right. And some of them are toxic. The ones that are actually the official brand called Sterno, you can burn those indoors. A lot of the other ones are toxic. You can't burn them indoors. They're for outside. You know what I'm saying? They're strictly for outside. But the brand Sterno can be burned inside. It doesn't have a smell.
You can get them in bulk. You can get them in bulk at, like, restaurant stores. Like, people do them when they be catering. They be getting them to cook their foods with. And you can buy them.
Exactly.
Get, like, 24 or something like that.
Too. Yeah, they do have them at Sam's Club, but the restaurant supply places, like Brother Cadence said, are the cheapest. You're going to spend a lot more money just going to Walmart and stuff.
Right. But you definitely need that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You going to need that, you know, to cook your food and shit like that. And, you know, like, just being out in the field, like, you know what I mean? I'm a witness to say, like, you know, the small things keep your humanity, you know what I'm saying? Like having a hot meal or some hot tea or hot water, or, you know what I mean? Like this shit like that, man, you need that. You know what I mean? To keep things at a level to the point where you don't crack, you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
you know,
and sometimes those little things will make a difference as far as health-wise, too, you know what I mean? Yeah, I agree, bro. I agree. Well, I wanted to move into a couple things pretty quick, and then let Brother Cadence go in on some community organizational stuff, because that's really where things are going to have to, I won't say ultimately go, because ultimately they'll even go beyond that, but some of the next phases beyond the initial survival type scenarios, you know, once resources are consolidated. But what I wanted to bring to the table, I'm glad you really just like threw me the alley-oop with a lot of these things, talking about the hand sanitizer and all of that, because I'm going to talk a little bit about some basic health stuff without, you know, getting too preachy, just but some realistic stuff that people better be considering, you know, to deal with real-world scenarios, and fitness as it relates to survival. You know, some of the things that come to my mind since I've been talking so much about Katrina is when you look at that whole picture, you got the people out there. You see the picture of the brother pushing another brother in a wheelchair through the water. You got to see people with people on their back walking through water. People walking through the water when it's up to their chest. You know what I mean? People, floating on flat screen TVs. You know, people trying to keep from getting shot, walking over on the white side of town where they wasn't fucking around. They were shooting anything to move. You know what I mean? And, you know, the bad hygienic conditions like in the dome and in a lot of different places that, you know, surrounding areas where, like you said, just, in that big of an environment, one little thing of hand sanitizer might not do that much, but you know, anywhere, anytime we can control whatever factors we can, we should. We should definitely do all we can and have as much under our control as possible. You know, and even if, because everybody I'm just going to throw this out here because it was the fucking police that started it all off with the looting. But, you know, hey, some people ended up getting some things that way. The policeman opened the door. That's on record. Everybody saw it. They admitted it. You know what I mean? And that's going to go on, too. But you do want to store up on some of these things because at a certain point, there ain't even going to be nothing to take, at least not from stores. Because, you know, everybody going to have the same idea at the same time. I'll just throw that out there. I know it's a little controversial, but, you know, I'll go ahead and say it. I'll be bold. You know, but the whole thing of it is that, you know, when it comes to those type of situations, man, you do not want to be dealing with high blood pressure. You don't want to that you could have been working on and treated without medicine. You don't want to be dealing with your blood sugar being out of control, you know what I mean, because of lack of discipline or something that you could control. Now, you know, how people choose to treat themselves and everything, that's a touchy subject. You know, my family's a little bit more hardcore than most when it comes to that. And, you know, to the point where we put up a website as our Ning network, thebodytemple.ning.com. And tons of free health information on there. We've been up for 3 years, and we don't get a whole lot of, views on there. Well, we don't get as many as we should, given the state our people are in. So, you know, but with that, you know, you want to have a strong immune system. You got to work on your immune system now. You know what I mean? You got to do things. You got simple things. Eat garlic. You know what I mean? Stop eating processed food that's not really food. They call it food. It's garbage. You don't want to be eating and drinking stuff with red number 40 and blue number 7 and all that kind of bullshit in it. It will compromise your immune system. You know, if you need dental work done, and then you can afford to get it done, or you got some type of what the brother called entitlement. That sounds, I know what you mean, but I hate hearing stuff like that because it sounds so condescending when it comes from white people.
It does. That's what they call it. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you. And while those things exist, get the dental work done. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be nothing worse than to be in a real intense situation and to have a real messed up toothache. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that.
That'd be fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, it just make a bad situation and take it worse. Make it worse, man. There's little things that do, like while you were talking about stockpiling. Sometimes people, they'll stock up on all of the canned meats. They'll do some vegetables even. They'll do grains. Weak on the fruit. You got to make sure you have some dried canned fruit in there for the vitamin C and for the cleansing effect. Because, even under the most intense circumstances, if it's available, if you have it, you know what I mean, you should use it. And as a matter of fact, even beyond that, other forms of vitamin C, even in the form of vitamins and mineral supplements, stock up on that shit if you can. You know what I mean? Stock up on the vitamin C package that you just mix in a little bit of water. These are all things that you can do without a whole lot of trouble. You know what I mean? They're not real super expensive. Stuff like spirulina is a powdered blue-green algae is what they call it. It has a lot of healing properties. It's something that, will keep for a long time. And it's something that where you maybe can't have vegetables for a couple of days. You can slip that in some water and drink it and, and keep it moving. It's a high source of chlorophyll. You know what I mean? So it's kelp. While we do have all this abundance, because, yes, we do in America, where we can eat, my family too, can eat lettuce all year round and all these things, which is not really natural for this environment. You know what I mean? Eat all of that healthy, deep green stuff, the kale green, spinach, and all that when you can afford it. Don't go broke. Don't go broke. But, a lot of times people don't do what's up to their means to do. Meaning They got the money, the resources, they got the food stamps, and they just bullshit. And I'm going to keep it real. They know I'm not, that's all it is to it. The resources were there, and they just choose not to do the right thing, so to speak. So all of those things are on the health side are things that definitely take into consideration while there is still time, and not a lot. Because health is one of them things where they say, on the Bible, simply ignore your health and it'll go away. You know what I'm saying? That's true. And so if there's any weak spot you have, guess what? It will come out during emergency.
Right.
If you need to lose some weight, damn it, lose it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't be trying to, stress your frame out trying to move under fire, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Wait for New Year's.
I didn't hear you, bro.
Like a motherfucker waiting for New Year's or some shit. Like, my New Year's resolution is I'm going to be...
That's what they say. That's the year that they're not going to do. You know what I mean? Do it now. Don't wait till then. You know what I'm saying? Just go on and do your exercise. Do your pushbacks from the table. Start with that, which would take me into the fitness side of things, man. I did a workout video actually 3 years ago because I looked around. I saw a lot of hard talk out here in the black community about, we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that, we're going to do this to the beast. And niggas out of shape, man. I mean, I gotta keep it real. And it's 3 years later, and the shit still, looks the same to me. So as far as I'm concerned, that's like a 3-year bitch nigga anniversary as far as the workout tip, because a lot of people still ain't really picking up. Shout out, big up to, our brother, comrade, Sarah Susetti for telling people to get in shape. I'm so NBO to God. It's other people out there who are standing out there, and we all got to stand out there more and really advocate that because, man, look, you can't carry everybody.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And so, so it goes back to them scenarios. You know what I mean? Like we said, in Katrina, there was some definite situations where a lot of people perished just because they couldn't get out the way. That's the bottom line. And when it comes to elders and stuff like that, all of those of us who are making it our duty to be in some type of decent shape or whatever, we'll be the ones to help those, you know what I mean? And especially children first. But there is a whole order of priorities there. And so we'll need every able-bodied person to be as able-bodied as possible in a real world, situation. You know what I mean? And be able to hold their own, at least, as far as physical stamina and everything. So with that, if right here in our neck of the woods in Ohio, about 10 years ago, there was a big civil disturbance, we'll call it. And where things got wild. You know what I mean? And when things get wild and they didn't issue the curfew and everything, sometimes it ain't the best thing to do to try and explain yourself and all that. Everybody get the hell on, you get the hell on too. You better be able to keep up and pass the herd. You feel me?
That's right.
You know what I mean? Right. You'll be sitting there trying to, officer, what I was really trying to do was get your ass on out the way with everybody else. You know what I mean? Don't stick around and even, you know what I mean, be in enough shape that you can do that. You know what I mean? Because, I ain't said nothing about breaking no laws or anything. There's some legitimate, I guess you'll say, reasons to be in shape and some situations to try to steer clear of, as it relates to being able to defend yourself. A big part of self-defense is fitness. And the people who've been in the military, which I was not, but I know a lot of people were, and people in my family were, that's the first thing that, as far as I know, that's the first thing you do. After you sign up and they put your ass on that bus, you going to get in shape for 6 to 8 weeks or whatever. So it's obviously even important to the beast, to drill that, at least initially, to get everybody on the same page. You know what I mean? You're not exhibiting a whole lot of discipline where you neglect to do what you need to do with the body. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? That's like some mental masturbation go on, but, physically, we got to have integrity there. So my suggestion is a priority. And I'm just saying fitness, I'm not just getting into other types of training and, we'll leave that for another discussion. But on the fitness side of things, you need to have strength endurance, meaning your strength can endure for long periods of time. It's one thing to be able to just push your weight up, you know what I mean, or whatever, squat the weight once, 5 times, but you need to be able to sustain it over minutes, over half an hour, over hours, repeatedly, if necessary, doing certain types of things. You need to be able to practice carrying things a long distance, because you might have to put one of your brothers or your sisters or your mother's children on your back and get moving. You know what I mean? I'm talking practical stuff. Cardio is very important. I know there's a lot of people, and some brothers have been around, they know when it comes to the whole sparring thing, it's going to show when it comes to sparring. You know what I mean? You can have some technique. You can think you got the knockout punch. Shit, your ass is gassing after like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? It has to take its toll, man. It really does. Flexibility was another thing. You got to be you ain't got to be a yogi. No, I'm not even advocating nothing like that. That's very time consuming, and you better be doing more than yoga. I agree with Seti on that one too. You know what I mean? Especially for the brothers. Like I said last time, this is Den of Lions over here. So we talking man shit, back to manhood, warriorship. You know what I'm saying? That was the law of the jungle, so to speak. You know what I mean? The Zulu were highly trained, highly fit. You know what I'm saying? They were in Haiti. They were in Jamaica. You know, the Maroons there. They were all over. They had Quilombo, Palmeiras, I'm saying, in South America, you know, in Brazil. So if you had to put it all together in today's terms, exercise terms, I would suggest that people do things, start off with a lower level, but whatever you can do safely, but get into some kind of high-intensity interval training. And the intensity is not going to be as high in the beginning, but where you do those sustained bursts and you rest, short periods, and then you do them again. To me, that's the best way to really, I guess that's one of the technological advancements that I've found to actually be useful and practical for the kind of scenarios. Because the people who train that way are police, are firemen, are military people now. I see even the Marines have changed their whole fitness protocol from push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups to some other high-intensity shit now. They got to, like, run with something 50 yards and then do something else, put something on their back, and, you know what I mean, carry an ammo box, you know what I mean, a certain amount of yards. So, I mean, it has a real-world application, and that's what it's all about. So that's basically what I had, and understand. I want everybody listening to understand. Once again, it sounds individualistic, and where you don't have people with you, don't wait. You better do this shit your damn self. But where you do have some brothers, some sisters, some comrades, however you want to say it, African soldiers with you, then you need to, you know, do things together. And you need to be checking on each other and checking each other on not being in shape. You know what I mean? Because your life could depend on that person. You know what I mean? Your life could actually depend on them being in shape. So it ain't just about you individually. And so we just want to make sure we stress that, even though you do have your individual responsibility as well. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and make room for my little brother Cadence, who designed that hot Black Survivors logo that everybody's seeing on YouTube and on Facebook and everything. You know, the brother very talented in a lot of graphic stuff, arts, music, mixtapes, the whole nine. And I'll let him tell you a little bit more about it himself. You know, just very appreciative to him that, you know, have got a chance to meet him in his life and work together on, you know, some of the things we've worked together on. Brother Cadence, you would please grace us with your thoughts on some community organizing as it relates to survival scenarios.
Definitely. First, I'll go about it because, like we said before, like we have to kind of deal with scenarios because, like the survival thing, and even beyond survival, just the whole mindset of us being able to go into what we have to go in from this point really encompasses a lot of different things, even depending on what type of person you are. But like a reassurance that I wanted to address first was that us as a people, because when we're talking about organizing, you're talking about organization, you're talking about just your personal self, even though you got to organize your personal self in your personal life, but you ain't gonna be able to do it by yourself, homie. I don't care who you is. And so the reassurance that I wanted to put out there for people that are listening is that we are already doing the things needed to be prepared. It's just that it needs to be organized in the system and a plan or initiative or an agenda that can really make what it is that we all are doing right now effective. Even like what we're doing right now. Like this may just seem like you got some guys on this blog or forum that are just really just been talking and stuff like that. But no, it's actually a service that is being used that can be implemented, and if organized and if effectively organized, we get this to a certain amount of people, this can be a domino effect to some things that we need to kind of get handled. And so I go into it. I basically trying to correlate what we actually are doing right now in this process to how, like, I actually created a document back in 2010 called the Organizer Roundtable that goes into issues in regards to immediate survival as well as long-term agendas and principles that we can actually start today in doing to kind of liberate ourselves on many different levels. So I just as a disclaimer for people that are listening, and because this is such a broad topic, I want to say that that this actual that I'll be going through and skimming through has an offensive and a defensive posture. I will not go into the offensive stuff today because right now we're kind of dealing with immediate survival strategy and tactic, and just I don't want my enemy to know all that. So I'll kind of refrain from going into a lot of that, but you can contact me in the many different venues, and we can have a conversation. I can pass along at least this document to kind of spruce up a lot of the different things that you might want to tighten yourself up with. But another thing is that this is sensitive to time, meaning that in regards to whether or not you want to organize your little crew or you want to organize your whole city or community, if fireworks is going off tonight, don't be going off. Don't be going out there when the fireworks is going off, trying to start some shit. Like there's an African proverb that says that you don't wait to go onto the battlefield to build your goddamn shield.
Right.
So I mean, literally, yes, sir. So I mean, literally, it's this. What I'm saying is, this is a disclaimer because I don't want nobody being like, man, the lights went off and you told me I could do no. This is sensitive to time. This is proactive shit that you can do tonight. Another issue is that's sensitive. This is personality. I created this so this can fit anybody's personality, but there are many different sections of this that you may not even waste your time even going into. If you are, for instance, somebody that may be like a felon, you know what I'm saying? There are certain venues that you can't go into. You know what I'm saying? If you are not necessarily a people person, you don't like dealing with people telling you, like, my brother Montu probably is familiar, like, yeah, I heard about that or whatever, but or you tell somebody to do something and then you ask them and they be like, well, I ain't really that serious. Some people is not interested in dealing with a lot of the bullshit that come with working with people, that you bringing people in that are new to it and having the tolerance to deal with them and help them grow. Some people are more oriented at dealing with people that are already disciplined and they're just about being effective on that level. You know what I'm saying? So you got to really determine who you are in regards to that personality. Another thing that's sensitive to this is geography. Like the brother Prime Official was saying, that like if you on like the East Coast and like what he's dealing with Pittsburgh, and you dealing with the water, you dealing with it being up in the north, it being a cooler environment. In some cases, like if you on the West Coast, you dealing with more arid desert type of situation, and you also dealing with not just like on the ecological type of platform, but you also dealing with like as far as if you're in a city environment, and not just in a city environment by like concrete and shit like that, but I'm talking about like there are certain like gang laws and shit where like one of the things is like if you jogging in a pack, well a group of niggas running together, you might get shot down, and that shouldn't prevent you from appearing in mass. But I do know that there are certain gang injunctions and stuff like that that exist in certain areas that you have to be cautious of. You can't just be well, it says it right here in the document, so I'm going to do that. You got to be conscious of your area. So this is sensitive in geography. So I'm going to go on into this. Again, you need to decide if you're a people person or not. It's the first thing you need to decide. And then that will help you determine what it is you'll be able to do in that regard within your capacity within this platform. And the reason why I'm saying this so is that you don't get burnt out. You could either get burnt out by doing something that you don't even need to be doing, or you literally could just, this is not what you need to be doing. You need to start somewhere else and then move up to that point. Okay, so I'm going to start off with people that are not necessarily disciplined, because for the masses of our people, unfortunately, we may not have taken up some of these things, and I try to create a way that we can simply meet people where they're at. And you may be disciplined, but you may have a tenacity to want to work with people that are not, have acclimated to a lot of this information, and you want to bring them along in a short period of time. Some quick ways on how to do this, and a system that I created to also deal with the organizing aspect of the physical community that you live in is broken down to 4 groups. You got study groups, you got workout groups, you got land surveying teams, you got propaganda teams. These could all be separate teams, but most likely you ain't got that many people, so you are going to be in every one of these teams. So these are systems that you will implement. We're actually part of a propaganda team, but I'll get back to that. This is for sociable people that want to work with people that are not necessarily, that are new to this information. They're working with street-level people, grassroots. And so with this, you can have free events. You can do movie nights. You can do book clubs where these different types of things. People are already doing these things. You worried about money? Find somebody that got a food stamp card. The library, these campuses and stuff like that, they always have private and public rooms that are free. So there's no excuses in regards to that. But you choose these type of events. It doesn't necessarily, this is the study group, so this is more so educational, but what you could do is, everybody got a bootleg in their house, man. Don't front. You know what I'm saying? It's a modern day boycott. But what you do is, you advertise that you about to show this new movie, you get people in there, you tell them you're going to feed them, bing, bang, boom. After you watch the movie, then you use the topic of the movie to have a dialogue, and you bring up a lot of these things. You hand out literature or whatever, ask them to come back, that type thing. The workout group in the system is dealing with, just like what Brother Montu was talking about. But what this is dealing with community presence. People seeing that, black people actually work out. And it's not nothing that is going to be going into more high intensity like what Brother Prime was talking about, is actually going into the woods and doing other types of certain drills. On this level, it's stuff that people do already every day. Not as much as they should. But jogging squads, full body workouts in the public, you know what I'm saying? Even with games, basketball, soccer, when you're dealing with even chess. So you have a lot of people that actually still be outside, out in the park, in the libraries and stuff, and playing chess. That is a form of mental actual strategy and actual gaming that you're using to exercise your mind, which is also a muscle from my perspective. And so you use these not only as a way to be effective in strengthening yourself, but also you use it as a way to be surveillance in the area. How many of y'all, if you're not already jogging in your community or working out in your community, but you see white people in your community? I'm talking to the black community here. I'm saying, how many times do you see white people jogging in your community? They're wearing sunglasses. They kind of, physically fit. They almost got the build of somebody that might have been ex or current military or police. And they running up and down your damn community and shit, and you just think, oh, they working out. Watch they ass. You know what I'm saying? They running programs. That's the whole nother tactic that they're using, because they know that we don't really pay attention to them. You know what I'm saying? We pay attention to a nigga that don't look like he from our neighborhood. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing, but you use these different types of games that everybody's playing. You could be out in the park playing frisbee or whatever the hell it is. You jump rope. Whatever it is, be out. This is for this type of platform and dealing with the sociable people that are dealing with public type of issues. You want to be outside and be present and show people that you working out. Hey, do you want to join my jogging thing? We're going to be jogging time in the morning. And you start this. Let the kids see it. This is a very powerful thing. And they can mature into other things. Another thing is, this is a private thing, but it's in regards to getting this thing organized for people that are in your crew, is map your areas. It's called the land surveying team. You want to map your areas. and this is important because I don't know how many of us, like, if you didn't have a damn GPS, you'd be in trouble.
Right.
Okay, so that's a serious problem. Land nav is a serious skill that even I am not proficient in, that I'm checking myself that I got to get on that. Land nav is necessary. I'm talking about being able to read the stars like our great ancestor Harriet Tubman and Nat Turner and the greats that was able to, use nature to be able to tell them where they needed to go and when to be there. But you need to map particular areas so in the future you know where they're at and either you know to go there or stay the fuck away from there. And it's this. You want to map the black community. You want to map the rich white community, the aggressive white community. Okay, that is a difference. And then you want to map the gay community for reasons that I want to go into. You want to map police territory, whether that be their squadrons or that be their little sub things and all that or whatever, and they little, you know what it is. Warehouses. You want to map these specifically empty warehouses and factories. Okay, because these are things that could be used for potential warehousing of people, like FEMA camps and such. Also there could be resources there that we won't go into. But you also want to map local gun stores. You want to map abandoned buildings and land and wooded areas and bodies of water. You definitely want to, like Brother was going into, you definitely want to map them abandoned buildings, know where they're at, know which ones are accessible. If they're not accessible, maybe they need to become accessible immediately. But your crew that is on that team needs to be aware of those things. Bodies of water is very important. But also back roads, alleys, local. I'm not gonna go. That's offense. So the other thing, like what we're involved with right now, propaganda teams, where basically you're just distributing paper, literature, and like for instance, I got a list. Like I heard Brother Prime, he was going through a lot of the things that are needed in your bug out bags, and also in your home survival. When in case of an emergency. There are certain things that, because we live in the information age, we have access to, but our people are not necessarily wired and being programmed to look for that stuff. So we got to be the people, if you are part of this type of function, you need to have this stuff on you, passing it out to them, sharing this video, even, this audio on these people's Facebook page. If it's your parents, people that you know that they don't know this stuff, but they need to hear it. And once you hear something, you can't say that you ain't hear it, and you will always apply what it was and how it was given to you based off the first time you heard it. So it's important that this is simple things that you could do to kind of organize in a way. But it's for the purpose of enlightenment, one, but also recruitment and possibly personal fundraising and intelligence as well. So we want to go into, for people that are a lot more serious, and I did want to kind of maybe tailor it to specific scenarios once I went through this one quickly, because it's basically the similar stuff, but it's a lot higher intensity, because this is for people that are not necessarily interested in working with new people. They got themselves a crew-minded people, and they just need to get on a training. They need to get on they want to get on their training, and this is really more because it's the time we run out of time. People really need to be right here at this point. And I'm going to go into this, but again, I wanted to say that first so people would say, well, I'm not ready for it, I can't. So I went on and put that out there. But the study groups, again, for this level 2 structure, for this more disciplined structure, your study groups will be building sessions, not going back and forth on, religion and all of that other junk. We're talking about strategy. We're talking about drilling. We're talking about you running scenarios. Like, for instance, since we're dealing with the commemoration of those that have fallen and those that survived the bombing of Katrina and the flood of Katrina. In that, we need to review some of the old documents, some of those old news footage where they was talking about, like, not mayor, but the Congresswoman Blanco or whatever ordered a shoot-to-kill order. You know what I'm saying? You can go on C-SPAN. You can check out Mama D, Diane French. You could Google that name and review where they did these testimonies on C-SPAN where they were talking about what they did. They went down there. They didn't give these people no chance. I'm telling you. They went down. They sent the military down there, and they was putting beams on babies. Okay?
Right.
And they was ordering you to give up your shit. And if you didn't move in a fast amount of time, they was throwing bullets in your head, man. And this went down. This already happened. And this was, like I said, like 6-7 years ago. So you already know it's become to a whole nother level of sophistication in what they're willing to do to push their particular plan. And so you need to have these study groups, these building sessions to deal these types of topics. Also, this is a bonding thing where you can become closer to people. So you will do different types of games and things and bonding type of exercises that will bring you closer to these people. You know,
right.
With the workout groups, this is more so privately than just like what I talked about before, where you publicly jogging, and that's, you should probably maybe still do that, but this is where you want to kind of conceal yourself. You will, like the Brother Palm was talking about, I don't care where you at, man. You can find some undeveloped area where it's behind abandoned places, like even abandoned buildings. If you're in a urban area, or even in some of the rural areas that are even modernized with housing and factories and stuff, there's always some brush and woods and stuff somewhere. Find that. It can start off with you jogging in that community, and then you find it. It could be you taking walks. It could be you walking your dog, whatever. You can find different. We come up with stuff on how to find these secluded areas where we can use to train. No different than all of these militia groups and all these people and what they do. I'm not going to get into specifics, but I am saying that this workout group needs to be dealing in drill. Drill, 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 drill. Okay? It does not only have to be in the woods. A lot of this stuff is internal. When I'm just going to strategies, and we can apply it to Katrina. Katrina was, and I'll use their terms for lack of term, because some people are familiar with this, and I'm talking about these people that are familiar with this. This was a without rule of law situation, meaning they could just shoot your black ass. You couldn't call nobody. That the FEMA shut down all communication, all transportation, every goddamn thing. Whatever the fuck you wanted, if you didn't have it, you was fucked. And so in that scenario, you should be running drills tonight. Do it tonight. You went from maybe 3 hours where the water was kind of low to instantly that water was on the second floor of a house. And so you had to bust through your roof. If you are on the coast tonight, like now we dealing with this, I don't know what the name of that damn hurricane is, but it's going over Haiti right now. You know what I'm saying? It's probably going over Florida. It's people that's significant, what I'm talking about right now. And do you have access to your fucking roof? And if you don't, is it a possibility that you can do it? Go right now and look. These are drills that you can run to yourself. There are other drills that you can run with your crew, your squad, your whatever you want to call it, your group. And you ask them, in this type of scenario, can you put me up? Would you put me up? Well, you know, I mean, a lot of us, you come from a hip-hop generation. You know, how many songs in the heard would you let a bullet fly for me? Would you ride for me? You know what I'm saying? We gotta be honest with each other and see really if that's what it is, because that really is what, I mean, and I'm telling you this because emergencies happen when you don't want them to. They always happen when your ass ain't ready. So if you are drilling yourself personally every day, personally as well as with your people, even when you didn't expect it, you will always have the mindset of I wish a nigga would, or you always have the mindset of I'm ready for anything, you know. And so I'm saying that drill. I could go into more specifics, but again, I can shoot you the document and we can have a private conversation with that. But again, drill. That land surveying team, in regards to this, it has a larger load because of it's just like what Prime was saying. You want to be doing the same things and mapping those things, but you also want to be utilizing these areas, such as abandoned land, housing, the buildings, and other resources. Meaning, and I'll go into specifics with this because it's necessary, that you need to be utilizing, if you want to operate in this capacity, you need to find these abandoned buildings, like the brother Prime was saying, and you need to utilize them. For one, all of that land and shit, man, we should be growing all kind of shit. We should be doing. They got shit where you can just throw the seeds, man. You can just roll them up in balls of soil and just throw them. They call it seed bombing. Do it. You can buy seeds with food stamps. You know why I know? Because I'm using them.
Period.
I'm telling you.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? So you can do this. You know what I'm saying? That's simple shit that can be done. And don't nobody care, man. I listen to the police scanners and shit, little old ladies and shit. You know, they'll call and say this guy is doing this or whatever. So you need to be cautious of your area and not do no hot shit. You know what I'm saying? Again, this is for people that are somewhat disciplined and kind of got a couple of street smart. A couple. Okay, so I'm saying that, like, utilize that for growing and harvesting, as well as if you got to put somebody up, or if you got to get somewhere and be there for a while in case of an emergency or case that you want to run. As us as black folk, we've always, when we wanted to escape oppression, we were forced to become runaway slaves. So I won't even go into that. But I'm saying that you want to deal with the gathering of waste materials, things that are considered to be trash to most people. You can find them in dumpsters. You can find them on the curbs. You can find them on construction sites in their free area. Okay, but you want to gather these things. You want to organize these things and have them available for many different reasons. But anything from cement blocks, cedar blocks, bricks, tires, unbroken glass bottles. You understand what I'm saying?
Stuff laying around.
Yes, but I mean, how many of y'all just can go outside right now and kick a damn 40 bottle? Okay?
Right.
Gather
it can be used for a lot of things.
A lot of different things. You can, I'll just be off the cuff and say something kind of innocent, but you can use it for target practice. Just target practice. You ain't got to use it for, I don't know, quote unquote, these other things that you know what I'm talking about. But you can look for plywood, other sheets of wood that is just scraps that people just, there was extra shit and they got it. You need that. Use that. Those things can be used for anything, from storage to all kind of shit. Stock for different types of guns that you can even make yourself. Again, we're talking about survival here. We ain't talking about being a criminal. We're talking about surviving. What do you care more about at the end of the day? How somebody look at you or being alive? So, again, you want to organize, find these things first, put them where you need them. In the case of an emergency, like, for instance, like the brother Prime was dealing with civil war, race war, and even class war, for all these different things that they're trying to drudge up. The situation is that just like in Africa, they got the thing where it's really, they do the same thing on the expressways when you got to pay tolls. In Africa, like, the way they don't got like one of them little construction type things. They'll carry out a big ass tree, put it right there. Your ass ain't going nowhere, and you bet right? They will blow your brains out, and you gonna pay. You know what I'm saying? And so, in this case, whereas you would have access to these different waste materials, you can use some of these things, such as even like knocking. You know where all the fire hydrants is at. You know, you can utilize them. Also, like, you know how like bus stops and how they have them cement seats. Can they move up off the ground? Move them motherfuckers in the street. If some shit go down and you want to keep these motherfuckers out your damn shit, if you in an urban area, even in some cases this shit is in rural areas, know where things are at that you can leave there, and you can exercise that, send out a team, and block that off, and use that in an effective way to save your community. Okay, there's a lot more shit that I can go into, but again, I'm gonna have this document available. But again, I'm gonna go into the propaganda team of this last one, and then I'm gonna sum it up real quick. And so that propaganda team, it deals with a lot of the different things, but also us as a community. we know, I'm talking about the black community, man. We know that we got a lot of conflicts and rifts in our community. A lot of shit is fucking petty. Some of this shit is serious. Some of you done for somebody, some nigga done fuck somebody's wife. Somebody done touch somebody's kid. There's a lot of serious things too. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of this shit is really being passed around, and it's small and can be resolved. And we need teams of people that, because as well, there is an open program right now. The basic way that you can see this shit is just with Obama. There is an open program that is being used on black people right now. It's for lack of a term, it's Operation Self-Hate. They running this shit hard. You got Hot Ghetto Mess, you got World Star Hip Hop, you got all kind of platforms and shit that are causing us to distrust each other, hate each other, and just totally not even look to each other for any help whatsoever. We don't even think that we have the power. And so some people need to be agents to be able to redirect that. And in the same regard, they need to be agents to cause rift and beef between our open enemy. And so that without going into specifics, again, that's dealing with offensive. I'm saying that a defensive posture in regard to this is being somebody that is passing on shows this, showing black people that, hey, there are brothers and sisters out here that are conscious of what it is that we need to do to be successful as a people. Each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? And the more that we are starting to do that, we put ourselves in a more organized posture when this shit pop up. Like, again, a lot of the stuff that I even said in this, and a lot of things that we're going to use and have to use when shit go down, when shit get crazy, because it's crazy now for black folk. But I'm saying when there's nowhere to run to. There are shit that we already have internally that will help us to survive. All I'm suggesting is that we organize it, and you find people that you can work with. Make a list tonight. Make a list of people that, I like that guy. He don't know all of this stuff or whatever, but if some shit went down, I think that motherfucker can blow somebody's head off. I think he can. Mm-hmm. He at least got the attitude that he ain't gonna let nobody come in his house if the shit goes down. Shit like that. All right. Gather those names and then go through a process of getting close to them and bringing some of these things up. You can start at the easier level, which is you start having little potlucks or something like that in your community. Invite somebody, and you start chilling with them, and then the conversation come up. Or you can seek out people, or even move. Because I said a lot, so I think that's a good start. But I mean, a lot of this shit is that you, like I said before in the last show, a lot about getting prepared is about being comfortable. Once you've done a lot of these different things, once you've drilled on a lot of these different scenarios and situations that will happen, you will become not necessarily comfortable in a way that you'll be lazy, but you'll be ready. And so I'm saying that if you're in a community that you cannot implement any of these things in, remember, this is sensitive to time, okay? You need to get the fuck out of there, all right? Like, you need to be thinking about something like now. You need to be getting the fuck out of there if you can't do this, because you're not going to be able to do this shit by yourself. And so if you are working to move, if that is your plan, at the same time, you still got to have your shit together if the shit go down an hour from now, okay? Right. So don't be in some shit saying like, well, I plan on moving, but so I'm not going to worry about doing this and doing that. Nah. Get your shit together now. So, a lot of people have problem with dealing with or only focusing on survival. And I agree that this shit should not end with just mere survival. But we have to, as a people, we have to deal with immediate survival strategy. Once we have immediate survival strategy, the things that we want in regards to establishing larger formations that can create nationhood. They can become more realistic. This whole process right here, and even I got long-term initiatives that are involved with this. There are other different, like you got Frolinon, you got many different platforms out here that are accessible that I can get to you. But it starts with immediate survival. Like the age-old thing that used to say, you can't help nobody unless you can help yourself. You know, and we got to stop being so arrogant to think that if we don't have ourselves, much less have even our family structure together, the people that we want to ride for, how can we can talk about it, yes, we can theorize on it and everything, but will we make it a reality if we do not have these things intact? So first things first. So definitely I wanted to leave it there.
Well, I mean, yeah, I heard when you were talking, I mean, you covered pretty much, you know, all the things that I expected to hear and wanted to hear. You know, one thing I want to emphasize is when it comes to Katrina, people have to realize, man, we're not talking, not that we give a fuck about their law, because we don't, because it wasn't written in our interest, and so we don't care about something that's not in our interest. We don't.
That's right.
That don't mean we don't play the game here and there or whatever, but overall we don't. You know, but in regards to that, in Katrina, our people were not breaking the law. They were being shot, not as even as criminals. The only law, there was no rule of law, not even for the military. Obviously, not even for the police, because they were breaking into Walmart. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that was clear that we weren't for all of the the Christian-minded people who still try to uphold a moral system that doesn't serve us during this day and time. You know, we weren't breaking laws. Right. You know what I'm saying? And for those who will wait until the National Guard got to their door, knowing that you didn't heard word all day long that they going door to door, shame on you. You know what I mean? Shame on you. You know what I mean? I mean, because in reality, you know, word travels. It should. If we connected like we should be in the communities that we live in, we don't hear shit before it gets to there, you know, and we need to act on it. You know what I mean? You mentioned the scanners, and, you know, that's something that's not illegal. Their own white brethren put it out there on the internet. It's all over. You can find it for Pittsburgh, for here in Cincinnati, for wherever. You know what I mean? You can find the scanner online for free and listen in. You know, obviously that's not a problem. If it is, you know, we didn't put it on there. I will say that. But we should use it. You know what I'm saying? We should use it. So, you know, when it comes to all of those things, man, time really is getting short to realize that, you know, Cracker saying that the no man is an island. Well, I mean, even they realize that. And that's why white supremacy has been the dominant force on this planet, because they know they couldn't do it by themselves. And they pushed it to the point where not only all white people, but all other people would uphold it, so they can have unity, so they can stay in power. So now, just as a means of survival, like you said, that's our first line. And to be quite honest with you, man, it's still a hard sell. It's still a hard sell to even, for our people, a lot of our people to even be convinced that we're under attack. No matter how many youth get killed, no matter how much they just let people die in areas, you know, no matter how much they send in the Marines before they send in any bottles of water in Haiti, you know what I'm saying? We still think, overall, as a whole, the masses of our people still need to be woke up to the fact that we're under attack. You know what I mean? And so, of course, that's self-defense. That's definitely on the not on the offensive, because that would mean being proactive. No, definitely non-reactive has been our biggest issue. You know what I'm saying? Non-responsive. You know, because 7 years could pass since Katrina, and every black community everywhere in America is not, you know, pick up on that and making moves based upon that history. It just goes to show. We'll talk about some shit from 5,000 years ago, like it happened yesterday, and the things that happened yesterday, we act like it didn't happen at all. You know what I mean? So that's real talk, man. I really, we appreciate, you going into them details. And when we do get this put up on the net, please do put the links to some of the stuff. You don't mind the links being out there for some of the documents, or a way for people to contact you. Also, some of your products. How can some people get some of your products, your mixtapes, whatever? How can they reach you for those things?
Definitely. Well, I'm gonna go into the mixtape thing, but I actually have something that you could actually put in your bug out bag. I actually have lists that you could put your bug out bag together that I can send to you. But I also produce one particular product at the moment now that is. But you got this West Nile shit going on. I don't know. I don't want to put a lot of hype towards the whole mosquito thing. That's what is actually causing it. Because we know about them motherfuckers with the planes and shit and the fucking, what do you call that shit? The fucking
chemtrails.
Yeah, chemtrails and shit. We know about that shit. Okay, so I'm not necessarily saying I'm biting totally on the bait in regards that it is mosquitoes, but we do know that mosquitoes overly carry malaria. Is not beyond mosquitoes to carry and be, the host for these different types of diseases and viruses and stuff. So I'm saying that I have a product that I sell is actually 100% all natural shea butter based mosquito repellent. It is very effective. I actually use a natural oil also. Everything you get and that you put on your body is all natural. So on one end where you are repelling mosquitoes, you're also healing your skin. Just common, if your old lady, you got problems with you having, them rough toes and all. We just talked about, having calluses on her hands. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm saying if your old lady, if she got a problem with your rough toes or whatever, it's going to smooth that down. But it also scarring, it is good for scarring, eczema, dry scalp, dry skin. You need all the detailing principles that come along with you being able to repel mosquitoes. So basically, you're killing a bunch of mosquitoes with one stone. And so I have that available. You can go to AK Products at .spruz.com. That's akproduct.spruz.com. SPRUZ.com. You can also buy my music. It's edutainment. I have a lot of different strategies embedded in the music. Also, I have many different lectures that are intertwined that make it a very educational experience. You can actually preview many of these products in regards to the edutainment on YouTube at Minded Cadence at YouTube. You can also go to revolproductions.spruz.com. And that's revolproductions.spruz.com, where you can pick up a plethora of things, anywhere from graphic design, video editing. I sell African languages. This is another thing that we could have talked about today in regards to how these militia groups or whatever, they use different sign languages and codes and languages and shit. The military uses Morse code. They use different symbology and stuff. We got to be sophisticated enough. And a lot of the young brothers that you see on, and I mean, this ain't nothing new. We've been doing this for a long time in our communities, man. We always got our little calls.
Yeah, man, that's all that street shit. I mean,
Yeah, that's military. You know what I'm saying? So we really just need to be implementing these things, and this goes along with a lot of the drilling that comes along with these strategies that I talked about in that organizer roundtable. So, I mean, I do a lot more things, but, I mean, you can start there. And once you start there, like I said, I got this document on that website, revolproductions.spruz.com. So you can find a lot of that stuff there.
All right, and then, of course, I want to mention again, Brother Prime is at YouTube /Prime the Official. All one word.
You go to YouTube, all you got to type in is Black Survival Ethnic Cleansing. Like, all my videos will come up for the most part.
Some good survival stuff from our perspective. We just put up another YouTube and where the videos for these blogs are going to go also in addition to those two YouTube pages at The Black Survivors. YouTube/The Black Survivors. That's capital T, capital B, and capital S. The Black Survivors. And of course, like I said, we got the free health information, and don't let the word free stop you from please donate if possible. At thebodytemple.ning.com. We've been up 3 years. We help a lot of people. We do done a lot of free classes on there. Honestly, while the internet is up, I advise everybody out there to make the best use of everything. Because one thing this beast is going to have to do, you're going to think you're in China one day when they start getting around the sensitive time, they start cutting that internet. They start cutting the news. They start cutting the communication like they claim they do in Iran and different places. You're going to see it here because they got to slow everybody's roll because this thing is moving. We living in an age where the pigs get caught all the time on camera because everybody got a cell phone with a camera on. And before they can do damage control, that shit's already, so they're going to hit it at some point. And, it's not giving them no idea. They already had the idea. They already passed laws to say that they want the capability to do it. They gave Obama, that was last year, maybe the year before last year, to shut down the internet for up to 4 months. That's already on the books. All they got to do is enact it. You know what I'm saying? So be diligent, everybody. I appreciate you, brothers, for coming on the line with me tonight. And let's build again soon. Let's build again soon.